Good evening, race fans. Welcome to the virtual Atlanta Motor Speedway, where tonight we will crown a champion for the Canadian Sim Racing Series live here on GeForce TV and the Canadian Sim Racing Series Facebook page. My name is Steve Ovens, joined here in the booth tonight by my colleagues here for this past four races, getting ready to crown a champion here tonight. Todd Lewis, Dave Bradley, and Todd, welcome aboard to the Atlanta Motor Speedway, where after 100 laps here, we will crown a champion tonight.
Looking forward to it. Should be very exciting to get back onto the ovals after a couple of weeks of exciting road racing, is maybe the best way to call it, at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve and Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. Now back to the ovals, and it will be a fight to the finish to see who comes out with the victory, who comes out with the overall championship in the Canadian Sim Racing Series. The thing that everybody, I think, will really be paying attention to tonight is tire wear, because I understand simply pulling from your pit stall out into pit lane and your tires are worn and you'll be screaming at your crew chief to come back in for fresh tires. That's about how quickly they wear out at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. It'll be fun to watch.
Dave Bradley joining us here as well tonight. And Dave, just like Todd said, tire wear is going to be the talk tonight. And I think that having this championship race at Atlanta is the perfect way to crown the champion here tonight, because out of these five races, you've really had to show some range and skill level to win this championship.
You really do. I mean, and then you're right. Atlanta is a perfect opportunity for this. It really sort of propels the person who can control their car, keep their equipment underneath them for the longest, and they will have the best run here tonight. So it'll show the cream rising to the top of this one for sure. But Atlanta is a great opportunity for a lot of passing. A high-speed track, but it's a very, very wide. Once the grooves wear in the corner, you get a lot of passing opportunities, a lot of potentially three-wide racing. So whereas in some of the earlier races we saw a lot of cautions, here there's a lot of room to race, so it should be a good one.
Field is rolling off here. They are gridded. They are ready to go racing. And taking it away from the pole tonight, gentlemen, is going to be Blake Reinhardt, who led the points race early. He actually came out of our very first race at Auto Club Speedway with a victory to be the points leader. But Blake Reinhardt comes into tonight fifth. He will take it away from the pole. But Todd, starting to his outside, is the point leader who comes into tonight with a 22 marker advantage. That is Alex Labay.
Alex Labay had his struggles a week ago at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, fell to the back of the pack, but then managed to, through the rest of the race, climb his way forward and manage that difficult night, coming up with a top 10 finish. Or the points situation could have been much tighter than it was between he and Trayton Lapsovich, 22 points, and of course brother Caden Lapsovich in third place, 38 points of the back of Alex Labay. Not to say that it's definitely Alex Labay's. He is in a very good position. But as we've seen, both the Lapsovich brothers are really fast, and we can expect them to be up challenging for the lead ahead of Labay, Reinhardt, and anybody else.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, Labay, he knows what to do. He's won championships in the past, so he knows how to get things done. He will be patient in the early going, but look for him to get to the lead early.
The championship round of the Canadian Sim Racing Series takes the green flag here at the virtual Atlanta Motor Speedway, and it looks like it's going to be Blake Reinhardt who's going to take the early advantage through turns 1 and 2.
That's Alex Labay up on the outside, seems to be slipping back a spot now. One of the Lapsoviches moving up ahead of him. That is Alex Labay settling into third. No need to push the issue too quickly. Settle in, see how that car feels around this track, and then start to set yourself up and look to stay up towards the front, keep the trouble behind you is the approach that I think Alex Labay is going to have. Be in a good position, keep yourself in a good position for the rest of the night.
Yeah, if the previous four races have taught us anything, is that there will be trouble at some point this evening. So for Alex Labay, he knows if he can keep that trouble in his rearview mirror, he will do A-OK. And if he can keep this number 32 car in his front windshield, then that's exactly where he needs to be. As long as he is somewhere around Trayton Lapsovich, even if Trayton Lapsovich beats him, it can't be by too many positions. So as long as he's tucked up underneath the back bumper, that number 32, the outcome will be exactly what Alex Labbe will be looking for from this evening.
Interesting that everybody's just kind of settled into a single file run in the early going, and just I think everybody's trying to get the feel of what their car is, how this track is going to behave, how quickly the tires are going to fall off, how much the handling characteristics of the car are going to fall, or characteristics are going to change as the tire wear begins to fall off, but not really a lot of shuffling and looking for positions in the early going up front.
Yeah, the only real action, guys, that I've seen around the racetrack is the driver that came into the night fourth in the point standings, Rafael Lessard, had a little bit of a jingle with Alex Gannett on the back straightaway on lap number 2. So Lessard's going to try and come back from a little bit of a jingle early. But again, we are early on, and Lessard right now running in P17.
Now, that's a long way to go for young Rafael Lessard, but there's a long way to go in this race. We're just 5 laps into this one. And there is a car out there that is smoking early on, so potentially a tire rub early on or something amiss. I don't see who it is. I can just see the puffs of smoke. It might be the 55 of Will LaRue. There it is, into the turns. You can see it's been doing it now for a couple laps. You would think if it was a tire rub, it would have rectified itself by now.
And sometimes when they rectify themselves, it's not in necessarily the best manner. The tire tends to go flat, and that causes problems. But if it's just a little puff of smoke, we'll see. Does it get any worse as this run goes along? 6 laps in, still single file, and it's Blake Reinhardt, Trayton Lapcevich, and Alex Labbe, the same 3 up front. And there is Caden Lapcevich, who is also 3rd in the points and has slipped back just a little bit from the start, but he too trying to run in single file and keep those leaders in sight right now.
And nobody really wants to abuse their equipment too much at this point in the race. But not as much aggression in this one in the early going as we've seen in the first real 4 races of this series. And it could be that the management of the race series came down hard as Trayton Lapcevich moves to the inside of Reinhardt, looking to take over the lead. See if Reinhardt can mount a challenge up on the outside. They'll go side by side onto the front straightaway. Lapcevich might lead this lap. Not quite yet. I think Reinhardt will continue to lead, and now Lapcevich will have him into turn 1. But the 74 of Kevin Lacroix is the driver who's not racing here tonight after being suspended for 1 night for conduct detrimental to the series.
Reinhardt has slipped back to 2nd, and that's Alex Labbe, who had a nose up underneath and kind of had a look-see to decide whether or not he might want to follow Trayton Lapcevich up towards the front of the field, but he has thought, well, just settle in, and 3rd place is pretty good right now. Yeah, Trayton Lapcevich is out in front, but he's again peeking down into the inside of Blake Reinhardt, who also looks like he might want to retake the lead now from Trayton Lapcevich. So looking like those leaders are starting to feel it a little bit as we get towards 10 laps, and now they're getting a better feel of the cars, understanding what the fall off is going to be with the tires, and deciding how aggressive they want to be at moving up a position or 2.
It's pretty interesting, guys, here to see Trayton Lapcevich up front. Seems like that's been a common theme in a lot of these races on the Canadian Sim Racing Series that we've called here this season. Lapcevich getting out front early, finding his nose to the front, and then trying to set the pace and set the tempo early on.
Really interesting that he's done a lot of sim racing, done a lot of online racing, and feels very comfortable in doing it, and it is showing his prowess in the early going. As you mentioned, he's been fast at every event, has shown a lot of speed at every event, and more times than not has found himself out in front of the field as we've got one going down. Is that Will LaRue who's making a pit stop and sliding down the pit lane?
That is Will LaRue, and I believe it was the car that was smoking earlier on in this run. So he's obviously determined some trouble with the 55, so he's heading down to pit lane to get that rectified.
Looks like
but you can see as the drivers,
sorry, Dave,
they start to go side by side, and here's Alex Labbe now moving to 2nd spot underneath the 12 of Reinhardt. But the outside group is coming in now. Reinhardt able to fight back just a little bit on that outside for a touch, but give the position to the 36 of Alex Labbe. Caution is out right now.
Caution flag out here for the first time tonight on lap number 12. Got a car in trouble on the race course here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. So our first yellow flag of the night, first slowdown of the night comes there on lap number 12. pace car will pick up Lapsevich and LeBay to pace the field here. And Todd, I have to imagine tonight, you get 10 laps on a set of tires, you're coming in.
Well, this is what we're going to watch with everyone now as they're all coming down off the banking. Yes, as you mentioned, 10, 12 laps. Everybody's coming to pit road. The tires, they wear so quickly. You can't emphasize it enough. They'll make the stops for tires. Will we see anyone try 2 tires here in the early going? If it doesn't work out, you might still have time to recover from that, but maybe someone gets aggressive. Maybe someone decides, let's try 2 early and see what happens.
50 miles an hour is the pit speed all the way down into their box. Reinhardt has pit box number 1 here tonight, but he had slid back to position number 3. Everybody's down and away, and guys, it looks like Alex LeBay may have the advantage. Spun the tires just a little bit there coming to the line.
That was close. He might have got him by a nose at the line. If not, it was definitely just millimeters in the favor of the 32, Trayton Lapsevich. But you can win races off pit road.
First pit stops of the night are in the books, and we will step aside here. Dave's got some words from some of our great sponsors here with the Canadian Sim Racing Series.
Tonight's race brought to you by Storewall.ca. Shop at Storewall.ca for all your garage storage needs. We import and sell premium wall-mounted slat wall storage solutions for home and business. Our complete line of products provides everything you need to efficiently organize and store items in home and commercial. By Chez Gerard Patat, proud supporter of motorsports for the last 20 years. Gerard Patat wins the race for best fries, hot dogs, and puts in Quebec. If you ever come by, make a pit stop. You won't.
Well, thank you very much to all of our great sponsors and supporters here at the Canadian Sim Racing Series. 5-race series here. Partnership between the good folks here from Dark Horse Events as well as GeForce TV. Broadcasting live here on GeForce TV on the YouTube side of things, as well as on the Canadian Sim Racing Series Facebook page. A great 5-race series here to really show the range of these drivers, and on the broadcast side, what an effort that has gone into putting these on, broadcasting these races not only in English but in the French language as well. And right now, Trayton Lapsevich shown as your race leader, as he did indeed beat Alex LeBay off the pit lane. And we are 14 laps on the board here, guys. And, I think for a 100-lapper, we've seen much of what we expected to see. Guys dicing it up for position, but taking calculated risks at this point.
Very much so in the early going. There was not a lot of aggressive and bold moves looking for position early on. They ran a few laps before Trayton Lapsevich moved around Blake Reinhardt to take over the lead, a lead he'll maintain for the restart. But there was then the move by Alex LeBay around Reinhardt, who picked up second spot. But those really the only passes for position up front. Trayton Lapsevich will lead them back to the green in just a lap or so. Out front, where we imagine he'll be, and I'm interested to see how that outside line works for Alex LeBay, and is he going to try to put himself out in front of Trayton Lapsevich in this opportunity with the restart?
Fresh tires for the field going to make them feel superhuman in the first few laps of this run as well. So if you're going to try the outside, if you haven't yet, now is the time to do it. Look at the car starting in 4th there, Trent Ringler. Remember, he had a top 5 run in the opening event of this series and sort of had fallen into some bad luck through the middle 3 events, but now he's back up front in the top 5, started in the top 5, and has remained there through the first 15 laps of this race. So another driver to keep an eye on there.
Yeah, absolutely. Trent Ringler, of course, was one of the standouts on the Rivals Blacktop Series that kind of led into this partnership with the Canadian Sim Racing Series. So Ringler will restart 4th, but it's Trayton Lapsevich that brings us back to the green flag. And boy, a rare miscue spun the tires just a little bit for Alex Labbe. These tires are fresh, but they are cold. We're back now to green as Reinhardt will take over the 2 spot.
And Labbe tucks right in behind, understanding that he had put himself in a bad position by spinning the tires on that restart. Immediately goes into defensive mode, recover, get back inside and get in line, get into that 3rd place position, protect down low, and let those guys behind him battle it out.
Yeah, and you can see for Ringler how badly that hurt him, because he was tucked up behind the 36 of Alex Labbe on that restart. Now he too finds an opening in that bottom groove and able to sort of stem the blood flow here as far as positions going away. So Ringler will blend back down, still inside.
Field works through turns 3 and 4. Right now, a driver we're kind of keeping our eye on here, and he's going to start in a battle here with Trent Ringler. That is Jeff Cote aboard car number 28. Cote had a great run several times with the Rivals Blacktop Series leading into the CSRS Championship Series here. And right now, he's got a great battle going on with Ringler. Ringler very badly in the top 5, but wants to get that 4 spot to turn 3.
Nice move by Cote to find himself up into the fight for 4th spot. Started 8th, has moved up a couple of spots in the early going. Not even 20 laps in. If you can pick up a few spots, get yourself up towards the front, then you can find out really what you've got in terms of a car underneath you. And it looks like Alex Labbe is feeling it once again. He's wanting to get back in front of Blake Reinhardt for that 2nd position as they go side by side for 1 and 2 and down the backstretch. And Cote is along for the ride.
You saw that car. As soon as the 36 got up close to the side of the 12, Reinhardt took the air off the spoiler. Man.
Yeah, Reinhardt in a little bit of trouble there as he's kind of getting hung out to dry here as you get a good look overhead as Reinhardt trying desperately to get tucked back in the line. He's got Caden Lapcevich coming up on him, and boy, what an aggressive block there from Reinhardt to make sure that Lapcevich couldn't get that position into turn 3.
All the while, though, look at the lead the 32 of Trayton Lapcevich has built up over the 36 of Alex Labbe. I mean, he is really setting sail and very comfortable out.
And that's the nice thing for Trayton Lapcevich when you've got Labbe, you've got Reinhardt, you've got Ringler, and you've got Caden Lapcevich, who are all looking to improve their position or hold off a charge from someone else fighting behind you. It allows you to open things up a little bit as we're starting to see a little more action up towards the front. That's Blake Reinhardt, who's thinking, maybe I don't want to be this far back in the field. He's trying to hold off Caden Lapcevich, trying to move forward as well around Jeff Cote again.
One driver we're keeping an eye on here so far is Kyle Rochelle. Rochelle is a Right Choice Auto Sales hard charger candidate at this point in the race. Currently up 8 positions from where he started on the starting field. So keeping an eye here on Kyle Rochelle, who's making a nice run up through the pack.
Another driver who's having a decent series too is Kyle Rochelle. Sitting 7th in points coming into this one. So having a quietly solid series after 2 very good runs on the ovals, struggled a little bit on the road courses at CTMP and again at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, but now back to obviously a place that he likes here.
And another driver, guys, that we should be talking about here for that hard charger candidate as well is Michael Morley. Michael Morley in the 6 machine, who had to serve a penalty at the start of the race, is now up 20 positions, 35th to 15th, and he is right now a Right Choice Auto Sales hard charger candidate.
He has shown plenty of speed through the previous rounds of the Canadian Sim Racing Series, and he is doing it again tonight. Despite being put to the back to serve the penalty, he has found his way through, picking up 20 positions in the first 24 laps. That is definitely a hard charger candidate for Michael Morley. Not really showing any intention on slowing down either as he continues to move up through the field, and that's a very nice and impressive run from Michael Morley through the field. Just want to touch on, too, Raphael Lessard, who we mentioned, who coming into this event was 4th in points. His struggles have continued. He's fallen as far back as 24th in the field.
Yellow lights are on here for the second time tonight. as we have reached the quarter mark, the quarter pole, I guess you could say, here in this 100-lapper tonight. Again, championship round for the Canadian Sim Racing Series. And for the second time tonight, we see the yellow lights flip on as Trayton Lapsevich leads this pack over Alex LeBay, Jeff Cote, Trent Ringler, and Blake Reinhardt, the top 5. And just as we saw in that first stint, Todd, we're going to see about the same amount of laps on tires here once again. We may talk fuel at the end of this race, but early on, tires is going to be the conversation much more than fuel.
That's just as we expected. That tires at every opportunity would be the course of action for all of these participants tonight. Fresh tires make such an enormous difference at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Rough, abrasive surface. It wears the tires out very quickly, and every opportunity you've got to get fresh ones, you're going to take advantage of it. It's worked out well for Trayton Lapsevich so far. Off that restart, he managed to maintain the lead and, in fact, stretched it out. But now everybody's going to get fresh rubber behind him, and we'll see what happens this time.
Yeah, I think a 2-tire stop would be one you would do late in this race, where you need the track position and you hope that you can hold off the field by driving very, very defensively. But definitely 4 tires at every opportunity. There's no quota on tires. You're allowed as many as you can use, so might as well come in and get them.
And the best part about it, Dave, is if we talk about it all the time, you can use as many tires as you want, and here's the better part. They're free. Well, let's see how it shakes out here. Alex LeBay looks like he might just win the race off of pit road that time, but whoa.
No, it looks like it was Lapsevich that got out ahead of him.
Lapsevich he came out like a shot out of a cannon from his pit stall, because it did look like LeBay had left first, but then Lapsevich just drove around.
Yeah, that was interesting. We'll see how the restart order shakes out here as we have made our second pit stop of the night, and we are going to step aside here. Dave's going to tell us about more great marketing partners here with the Canadian Sim Racing Series.
Tonight's race brought to you by Stone Ridge. Let Stone Ridge Specialty Insurance protect your racing assets with liability and off-track coverage for race teams, sponsors, competition vehicles, tools, and equipment. Call Stone Ridge Specialty Insurance today. And by LacroixTuning.com, proud title sponsor of the Canadian Sim Racing Series. LacroixTuning.com is the place to shop online for your wheel, suspension, and tire needs. We can even ship you tires mounted on new wheels right to your door.
Welcome back to the virtual Atlanta Motor Speedway, where tonight the championship round of the Canadian Sim Racing Series comes to a head here this evening. Trayton Lapsevich, early race leader, took over the race lead about lap 8, lap 9, and has led from that point. We are now currently lap number 28 in the books. Just made our second pit stop of the evening, our second caution flag of the night. And taking a look, we'll get an updated timing and scoring as they come around this time. But it looks like Trayton Lapsevich and Jeff Cote is going to be the front row for this restart here. And I wonder, guys, if what we saw Alex LeBay get a good launch out of the pit box, but after Lapsevich got by, Cote was able to get by as well. And I'm wondering if maybe that inside line isn't more important than we originally thought tonight.
I think that everybody's going to want the opportunity to be on the inside line. If you can make the outside work, that's okay. But it looked like Bertrand Godin on that round of pit stops may have only taken 2 because he snuck out in front of the rest of the field. So it's going to be Bertrand Godin with Trayton Lapsevich alongside on row number 1. And that's going to be interesting to see. How long will those tires last? This is the experiment, I guess. He took 2. Is it going to work? And how long can you hang on?
This is perfect. This is exactly what I wanted to see at this point. Now we get to gauge how well 2 tires work and for how long. Will they hold up for 2 laps, 4 laps, even 10 laps? Bertrand Godin is essentially our guinea pig.
And you guys...
if you get another quick caution, that may play into this as well. He'll gain the track position if everyone stops again.
Absolutely, Todd. And you guys know for a fact that every crew chief is watching what happens here on this restart, because they're going to make those mental notes for later on in this event.
And will Drayton Lapkovich be able to hold on the outside on this restart? 2 tests coming, 2 tires and an outside
Ooh! Contact, go down to Drayton Lapkovich on the front row, coming to the green.
Didn't got a piece of it too in the 76. This is big trouble as a caution flies once.
Wow.
Now,
Calamity right on the restart.
Yes, did they actually cross the start-finish line? Did they get the restart before they had contact, before they put it into the wall? When did the caution flag come out at this time, and what is the ruling going to be there? Because the two were in contact and into the wall before they even got to the start-finish line, I believe.
Wow. Well, we've got some drama here early.
Didn't expect to see that, that's for sure, as we're coming up. We'll get another look at it here. So Drayton Lapkovich in the 32 up on the outside. Bertrand Godin down low. Godin moves up to the outside, and that's where the contact is made. I don't know if Lapkovich came down on him or Godin just...
It looked like Godin went up a little bit, but they were into the wall even before they got to the start-finish line, and other cars were passing them. I'm interested to see how this all plays out.
Now, this could be a nightmare for the scorers, for sure. But one of the toughest jobs at any racetracks, that's for sure, is being somebody in the timing and...
Now we're going to see other cars make pit stops, and this is going to shake things up further. But was it the 2 tires that impacted Godin off the start, where he went and got loose and got himself into the side of Drayton Lapkovich? Here's the onboard look.
And that wasn't just a little bit of contact either. No. As Lapkovich, actually both Lapkovich cars are hitting pit lane.
Drayton Lapkovich got into the back of Drayton as well, so he'll have some damage to the nose of this.
Now these drivers do have access to 1 fast repair tonight, and it looks like Drayton used his for sure, and I'm sure Caden used his as well, but just 1 fast repair tonight. So it's kind of, if you're more into golf than motorsports, you've now taken your mulligan for the night if you're Drayton Lapkovich.
Yes, but that was absolutely the right move for Drayton Lapkovich. You're 31 laps in, use the fast repair, get back out. If you want to have any opportunity to get back into this and have as solid a finish as possible in terms of the overall point standings, maybe Alex Labbe has troubles later on, but you want to use that fast repair at this point.
Yeah, at this point, you never know what could happen. I mean, we're headed for just a standard restart, and then all of a sudden, somebody who's dominated this race up until this point is sitting crossways on the track after making contact with another driver. So if you're Alex Labbe, you're sort of saying, phew, that wasn't me. But now you're looking around, your head's going to be on a swivel. Who's around me? What are they doing? And I need to make myself some extra space.
And one other thing, Todd, I think that might be interesting is certainly, the talent level of the Lapkovich cars are they're going to have the talent to try and drive through the field. But I just wonder if at some point those crew chiefs are going to have to put their thinking caps on and think of a creative strategy way to get track position back here. Certainly they've got the cars that can do it, but I'm not sure if just driving through the pack at a track like Atlanta where tire degradation is so high, I think they may have to get creative at some point here.
That's a possibility later on. The other issue is that deep in the field, 25th, 26th, 27th, approximately where they are, there's the more opportunity for bad things to happen the deeper you are into the field. You've got Cote, Labbe, and Ringler, who are the front 3 on the restart, and Alex Labbe is the one that they are chasing in the points, and he's about as far away as he can get right now. Deep in the field, when you're going to have to be aggressive, that's when the opportunity for other problems to arise can happen deep in the field as you're trying to make some of those aggressive moves to get back up toward the front of the field.
Yeah, but being positive here, I mean, let's take a look at the 6 of Michael Morley. He's
Yes.
into the 13th position at this point. That's 33 laps into this race, and he climbed from a dead last starting spot all the way up to 33rd and didn't do it on pit strategy. That's just all flexing his racing muscle on the racetrack. So it can be done. I mean, if the Lapsoviches are starting sort of mid to high 20ths, I think, in a matter of a few laps, we could see them fighting for the lead once again.
And it'll be fun to watch, which is the most important thing.
Oh, absolutely. So there, 25th and 26th, the last time by, that's where the 32 and the 76 will slot in. So they've got their work to do, don't get me wrong, but it is completely doable.
And still a lot of laps to do it in.
And we'll have more cautions, guaranteed.
Oh, I would think, yes.
I mean, if this series has taught us anything, is that you will have more cautions.
Right now, your top 5 as we get ready to come down to the line and put lap number 34 on the scoreboard here. Jeff Cote, Alex LeBay will restart on the front row. Row 2 is going to be Trent Ringler, Jason Metcalf, then Blake Reinhardt, Tom Senchek's name, who we call off for the first time here tonight, will restart 6th. Kyle Rochelle will restart in 7th. We talked about Rochelle coming through the pack a little bit ago, but at this point in the race, we've also got Jason Metcalf, who started 36th, currently up to 4th here as they get ready to come back to the green. Lights are off on the pace car, and we will go back green flag racing at lap number 35 when they come back off turn 4.
Glad you mentioned Jason Metcalf. That is a really good run for him to have climbed up into that position, up into the 4th position from the start, staying out of trouble and finding his way through. Now he'll have his hands full with the top contenders up front. We'll see how he does here with Jeff Cote leading them back to green.
Great paint scheme for Jason Metcalf, too, with that number 11 Budweiser scheme. Throwback to Bill Elliott back in the day. If you remember him in that championship run against Alan Kulwicki, that was the scheme that he ran that season, and what a great finish.
Pace car pulls off of the racetrack in turn number 4. Cote hits the loud pedal, and we're back underway. Green lights are back on, guys. We are 35 laps in this race. Still 65 to go, but it's Jeff Cote showing the way.
So far, and that's Alex LeBay who decides, yes, 3rd place will do just fine. I'll settle back in. Trent Ringler, you can have the spot ahead of me. More important to get in line, get into a nice flow with Cote leading the way. But Alex LeBay definitely trying to avoid any issues, not trying to push it too hard, too early. He'll take that 3rd place spot on this lap.
I don't think Alex LeBay has restarted on the inside line at any point during tonight's race. So he's always had to fight for his life on these restarts to get down to the...
No, I think you're right there, Dave. And I'll tell you one car who is absolutely struggling right now, and that is the guy that we talked about before that restart, Jason Metcalf. Metcalf in the 29 tried to use a little strategy there, guys, and it is not paying off for him. He has gotten loose corner after corner and is struggling with that 29 machine as he is free-falling through the pack here after the drop of the green flag.
Boy, has he ever slid all the way back into 19th spot so far. That's a handful for Jason Metcalf, who is pulled down, and yeah, that's a really difficult car that he's got handling right now, and just a tough break off the restart.
So did he take 2 tires or did he take no tires? Because at this point it looks like he took no tires, just the way that car is acting so evil compared to those who...
That would make sense, that to fall off that much and have that much trouble trying to keep up with any sort of pace at all. It would make sense that he elected to try and go without any tires.
Yeah, for sure. So there you have it. The verdict is in. It's not good.
You want 4, and what's the expression? I'm coming in for 4, and I'm not leaving until I get them. I believe that's how drivers refer to it.
Exactly.
Taking a look here is Alex LeBay starting to turn the wick up just a little bit here on Trent Ringler. That's a battle for the 2nd position. And not far behind them is Blake Reinhardt, who started this race on the pole.
Alex Lebay being cautious in his approach. He's looking to find his way ahead of Trent Ringler, but not really trying to get too aggressive or push it too hard as yet. If he can get up a little bit onto that quarter panel as they're making their way through on the straightaway, you'll see the difference in the aero and the side drafting, how the air moves across the car. It will essentially pull Ringler back to him. It will impede his forward progress and allow Lebay to get that spot if he can pull up alongside him coming along out of one of these corners.
Keeping an eye on Trayton Lapsevich, already up to 18th position after restarting back in the mid-20s, so the 32 car is on the move.
Oh, we've got trouble over in turn number 2. Cars scattering. And I think that is going to put us under the yellow flag, and it does. And I have a feeling that Tom Senchek was somewhere around where that began. I saw a red car step out. You see Alex Ellis with a ton of front-end damage on that Wonder Bread 37 machine. But it was Senchek, I believe, that I did see a red car spinning, and I think it was the Budweiser 11 that we spoke of earlier. So that'll put us back under the yellow flag here for the third time tonight here on lap 42.
Pace car out gathering the field right now, and this will mean another round of pit stops, and this will mean another round of tire changes for everyone as well up near the front of the field. As for at every opportunity, come get 4 fresh tires seems to be the way to go, as we've seen with others who have tried to go with 2 or fewer. It has not worked out.
So yellow flag. Yeah, Dave.
I was just going to say still a long way to go, but we get another chance to see what. And you're right, it was Senchek who went around initially, and then the field bottled up behind. So few cars involved, some of them with some pretty heavy.
Yeah, field headed down pit road here. Pit stops coming here on lap 43. And I have to imagine after what we saw there with a couple of guys trying strategy, we're going to see 4 tires and fuel for everybody here on the pit lane. Keeping an eye on that race off of pit road, and Cote down and away. And it looks like Cote is going to win that race off pit road.
Sure does. Nice, quick, efficient pit stop. He'll win the spot. Looks like Alex Lebay is going to settle into 3rd spot. And was that Ringler who got out ahead of him for 2nd?
Yes, Ringler 2nd, Lebay 3rd off pit lane. Kyle Rochelle with a nice job on pit lane, gained 1 position. He came out ahead of Reinhardt. So that will be our 3rd pit stop of the night. And with that, yellow flag pit stops coming to a close here, we will step aside and hear some more words from our great sponsors here with the Canadian Sim Racing Series.
Tonight's race brought to you by Chez Gerard Patat, proud supporter of motorsports for the last 20 years. Gerard Patat wins the race for best fries, hot dogs, and puts in Quebec. If you ever come by, make a pit stop. You won't. Let Stone Ridge Specialty Insurance protect your racing assets with liability and off-track coverage for race teams, sponsors, competition vehicles, tools, and equipment. Call Stone Ridge Specialty Insurance.
Yellow flag is out here as we are 44 laps into tonight's championship round for the Canadian Sim Racing Series. Coming to you live from the virtual Atlanta Motor Speedway. Steve Ovens, Todd Lewis, Dave Bradley on the call with you here tonight as we are live on GeForce TV as well as the Canadian Sim Racing Series Facebook page. And we welcome you to live coverage again of the championship round of the Canadian Sim Racing Series presented by LaCroixTuning.com. And let's take a look here. Jeff Cote, who came off of pit road as the race leader, assume he will reassume the lead here, as we've got one car that looks like they will take the wave around as we get ready to get this race restarted here in another lap or so.
Going to be interesting to see how the Lapsevich brothers do. They had good pit stops. Trayton up to 10th, Caden up to 13th, so they've made up a lot of ground after that contact and the trouble that they had following the previous caution on the restart. Now just outside the top 10 for Caden. Trayton is into the top 10. And if you're Alex LeBay, up near the front of the field, making sure that everyone that is chasing you remains behind you or not too far away. LeBay has done a nice job of avoiding trouble so far tonight. Not that he's racing defensively, but he is racing a smart race so far, not being too aggressive, not trying overly aggressive passes or maneuvers to improve his position. He's staying in a comfortable spot most times on the track. And Dave, I think you're right. I think he's going to start on the outside again.
It seems to be his card that he keeps getting dealt here today. But you're right about Alex LeBay, and even when he does make those passes, they come after a couple laps following the driver in front. So he'll follow him, make sure he sees where he's going, what he's doing. There's never a bonsai move to the inside to take a position or anything like that. It's all calculated, and that's exactly what he needs to do. Keep his nose out of trouble, make the passes when they're available, and just keep moving forward.
Pace car ducks off of the racetrack in turn number 4. Green lights are back on. 46 laps now in the books. We are just 4 laps shy of halfway, and we've got trouble. And your points leader, Alex LeBay, is involved. Trouble in turn number 1.
00 car was up front and did not take 4 tires. It appeared once again, had trouble on the restart. There was a spin. It collected Alex LeBay. We've got more trouble off the restart. That 00 car once again looked like he tried to do something strategy-wise, but it didn't play out.
Yeah, and there was nothing that Alex LeBay could have done to avoid the spinning 28 of Jeff Cote. Cote just came down right across his bow and unfortunately collected the 36. Damage not too severe to Alex LeBay, but we have another look at what happened here. And watch the 00 on the inside. It looks like Cote come down a little bit too, though, and Kyle Rochelle also involved in this.
It had the look, Todd, that maybe the 00 was going to make a much bigger arc than maybe Cote or anybody else anticipated there.
Perhaps that was an unusual approach to corner number 1, but that's again, it seems that this was an unusual choice, that to drift up that high, understanding it's on the restart, understanding it's a double file restart, to try to get into corner number 1. It was doomed from the beginning.
And you see the collateral damage, as it were, there, as now those cars involved in the incident here, Rochelle, Cote, Alex LeBay, all coming down pit lane. And I imagine these guys will all take advantage of that quick repair that they have to their disposal. And, now, Todd and Dave, I'm curious both of your thoughts here. Okay, Alex LeBay, you got caught up into the incident here. Now you've just got to kind of reset, use that quick repair as a mental reset as well, and just come back out here and take care of business for the remaining half of this race.
Understand, you're right. It's now we've all had trouble in terms of Trayton Lapsevich, Caden Lapsevich, Reinhard and LeBay have all had issues in the early going. So now it's all behind you. We got the second half of the race, and everybody's going to have a chance to get themselves back up to the front and see what they can accomplish out on track. We saw both Lapseviches, Caden and Trayton, move their way through the field after getting set back from earlier troubles. David, would seem logical that Alex LeBay will be able to move up forward with the fast car that he has as well, and he's going to have to be a little bit more aggressive in the second half to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And there you see it from LeBay's point of view. He had absolutely nowhere to go. He jumped hard on the brakes to try and avoid the spinning number 28 of Cote, but nowhere to go, and nothing he could have done differently to avoid that incident. But you're right, he will have to be more aggressive, because now it's a 50-lap dash. We don't have the glory of having time on your side when you're the 36 of Alex LeBay. There are a fewer race cars on the track at this point. That'll help him out a little bit. But definitely LeBay will have to force the issue just a little bit more to get his way back to the front.
So the next time by, they will come across the line and we will reach the halfway mark. And Todd, is it just me, or does the first half of this race seem like it's flown by here tonight?
It has been quick, but there has been plenty of action and storylines to follow, with both Trayton and Caden Lapcevich getting caught up in problems. Now the overall points leader, Alex LeBay, having difficulties. Cote with a strong run, and Blake Reinhardt with a strong run as well. Both challenging. It's been a fun race to watch. Trent Ringler has also had himself a good race, along with Jeff Gote. The second half of the race should be equally as action-packed. What we don't know is where we may have cautions, how that may affect cars like Alex LeBay, who are trying to maneuver the way back up towards the front. How many times will they have to make pit stops for tires? After what we've seen, would anybody even consider going with fewer than 4 tires in the second half of the race? I don't think so, but we never know.
Yeah, I think at this point, if you go with anything fewer than 4 tires when everybody else around you has 4 tires, you're just asking for trouble, especially on these restarts. I mean, we've seen it twice now, where a driver has tried to roll the dice to gain some track position through pit strategy, and it just does not work out. Those tires, they're screaming to get off the car at that point, and they just don't want to be in the race anymore. And unfortunately, it's led to big trouble on 2 separate restarts.
So Trent Ringler, Blake Reinhardt, Jean-Philippe Bergeron, Justin Arseno, Trayton Lapcevich, Alex Gannett, the sheriff himself, John Schweikart, Felix Gratton, Raphael Lessard, Caden Lapcevich, your top 10 as we come back to green this time by. 51 laps will go on the board as the pace car brings them off of turn number 4. We've seen a wild first half of this race. How will the second half turn out? Trent Ringler brings us to green so we can find out.
And what a great restart that Ringler has gotten, giving himself plenty of room, nobody around him, a clear path into corner number 1, just the way he wanted. And it looks like Blake Reinhardt has fallen back a little bit off that restart. He did not get a good start on the outside.
You know who did get a good restart? The 32 Trayton Lapcevich, now sitting up in 4th position. That driver is dynamite. Remember, it wasn't 20 laps ago. He was sitting crossways on the front straightaway, caught up in a wreck, not of his own doing, and now he's back up inside the top 5, sitting 4th and pressure.
Oh, he is for sure. Lapcevich right up to the back bumper of Reinhardt off of turn 2. Trying to make that power move, couldn't make it happen. He'll have to tuck back in the line here.
Oh, yes, but it has been fun to watch the youngster try to make his way forward. And we have seen Trayton Lapcevich be aggressive in previous rounds of the Canadian Sim Racing Series. He has found his way forward after the earlier troubles, seems to be just as aggressive and just as keen to get back out in front of the field, but not in a careless manner. It's aggressive, but he is also driving a very smart race, looking for the opening before pouncing at every opportunity.
Yeah, he's not doing it recklessly. There's not a mark on that car at this point, so he's not pushing his way to the front. He's just not hesitating when that hole opens up. Lessard almost goes for a spin, but manages to hang on to it. Now there's a driver into the wall. Didn't see who that was. Bounced hard off the outside wall, but Lessard with a hand.
Boy, he had left, right, little clip of the grass, but did manage to keep it under control somehow. That is a nice piece of driving by Raphael Lessard to keep it pointed in the right direction. Well, mostly in the right direction.
Yeah, he crashed. He just didn't get any damage.
Yeah, exactly. I was just going to say Lessard with his own version of the pass in the grass that time off of turn number 4. And guys, that's been a great recovery for Raphael Lessard. Comes into the night 4th in the points. And Todd, it wasn't too long ago that we were talking about him being back in 24th position.
No, that's right. And he's also been one to take advantage of cars that had difficulty in front of him. There's the look at it again, where he kind of straightens out that tri-oval along the front stretch and clips the grass, but manages to keep the car under control. Nice bit of driving by Raphael Lessard.
Yeah, when the crew guys in the pit can see the headlights of your car, you know you're not doing anything right. But I don't know how Lessard managed to hang on.
Yeah, absolute talent to hold on to that car, as we now have a battle on for position number 2, and it's before too long, guys, going to be a 3-car battle because Traden Lapcevich has closed in on them. Right now, Bergeron trying to hold off Reinhardt as we now get the yellow lights come back on here. 57 laps on the board, and we get our 4th yellow flag of the night.
Didn't see what the problem was or what caused the caution out there, but everybody gets a chance to catch their breath once again and gather it up before I would expect another round of pit stops to see what happens now. Alex Labbé, by the way, has climbed up to 21st after falling back after that contact on the previous restart. 21st is not bad. He's gained about a half a dozen positions. Maybe there's an opportunity here for him to pick up a few more on pit lane.
Yeah, well, anytime you get a restart, it's a good opportunity to pick up positions. And for Alex Labbé, this will be a caution that he will.
Oh, a little trouble there. Oh, a couple of cars getting involved in there. Sylvain Joly got involved in that one, and I think it was that triggered that. The 96 who...
yeah, it was Olivier Bedard who had troubles there, yeah.
Yeah, and I saw Bertrand Godin also involved, so that's the second incident that he's been involved in here this evening. A couple other cars getting some pretty big damage.
Cars are on pit road here, 4 stops, and it looks like Ringler is going to win that race off of pit road. Interesting to see these guys dice for position here coming off of pit lane, and Traden Lapcevich looks like he may have won the race for 3rd off pit road.
So that'll put Traden Lapcevich on the inside for the restart, which might be of benefit to him. That's a nice job to climb all the way back up to 3rd and picking up that spot on pit lane. Nice work for Traden Lapcevich.
So Trent Ringler leads here, lap 58 in the books. Come around to put lap 59, and we will step aside here from the virtual Atlanta Motor Speedway. It's the Canadian Sim Racing Series.
Tonight's race brought to you by LaCroixTuning.com, proud title sponsor of the Canadian Sim Racing Series. LaCroixTuning.com is the place to shop online for your wheel, suspension, and tire needs. We can even ship you tires mounted on new wheels right to you. By Storewall.ca. Shop at Storewall.ca for all your garage storage needs. We import and sell premium wall-mounted slat wall storage solutions for home and business. Our complete line of products provides everything you need to efficiently organize and store items in home and commercial space.
Welcome back to the virtual Atlanta Motor Speedway Championship Round. Round 5 of 5 of the Canadian Sim Racing Series, presented by LaCroixTuning.com. Steve Ovens, Todd Lewis, Dave Bradley on the call with you here tonight, live on GeForce TV and the Canadian Sim Racing Series Facebook page. And we've got it cross-posted and shared. This is a not only a national audience across the U.S. and Canada. This is a worldwide audience that are watching with us here tonight, both in English and in the French language as well. And we have seen a pretty interesting race up front here as Trent Ringler leads this race. 60 laps now on the board. Guys, we've got 40 to go. And although we've seen an exciting race, I still feel like we have the best is yet to come in this race. I'm not sure what to expect here with 40 to go.
Oh, I think there's plenty more to come. We've seen so much action in the early going. We've seen the championship leader at our last caution period had trouble off the restart. He was set back into the field, has climbed back a little bit towards the front and managed to get up around to about 20th position. We've had Caden Lapsevich and Trayton Lapsevich, also two contenders for the championship, had trouble early. They have both now climbed back toward the front. Trayton Lapsevich will restart third. Caden Lapsevich will start in the top 10 as well, and Alex Lebeo just saw his 17th. So he's had a nice recovery back from his problems as well, and he'll be heard from before the end. Blake Reinhardt, Trent Ringler. I don't want to pick a winner yet, Dave.
No, I'm not comfortable picking a winner at this point, but you look at John Schweikart, who's the hard charger candidate here for the Right Choice Auto Sales Hard Charger Award. Gone from 37th where he started this race. He's now inside the top 5. So there's another driver who we've talked about on occasion throughout this series, and he's having yet another great one.
Schweikart, part of the LaRue Esports team. Green lights are back on. Interesting, guys. Trent Ringler took the outside lane on that restart. And Todd, I think that's the first time we've seen somebody make that choice here tonight.
Well, that's the first leader that has chosen the outside, and maybe something to keep an eye on if we have further restarts later on in the race. It really seems to have worked out for Trent Ringler, and Trayton Lapsevich also seems to have benefited. Looks like he's going to take over second spot now.
We were 3 wide there for a little bit. Looks like we're going to go 3 wide here on the front straightaway as well, but definitely the aggression level has picked up here as we now get into the latter half of this race. The laps are starting to wind down. Tempers might be getting a little bit short, and drivers are getting eager to gain as many positions as they can. As you saw the 55 of Will LaRue get all kinds of out of shape, and here we go, 3 wide. Lapsevich and Schweikart.
Schweikart spins, Lapsevich continued, and Schweikart's still trying to gather it up as they head towards corner 3. Yellows come out.
So quickly back to the yellow flag here is contact there. And guys, that one, I know we're going to get a look at it here, but, you know, Schweikart really had 2 wrecks in a lap there. Just one of them happened to bring out the yellow flag because he was dead sideways, Todd, coming off of turn 2. I don't know how he gathered it back in.
Well, it was. He had his hands full trying to regain control of that car, and Caden Lapsevich had contact with him a little further down the backstretch, and that sent him spinning along once again that he wasn't able to control. But as Dave mentioned, the aggression level has certainly gone up in this final event of the season. We are seeing guys really charge for position now as we get another look at the reason for the yellow flag. And there's Schweikart, as you mentioned, Stephen, who's having troubles coming out of 2.
Well, there's a bunch of other cars down the backstretch who wrecked as There's the 76 of Lapsevich, gets into the 1 of Schweikart. I think Rochelle once again got it a little bit. Not sure if he took a solid hit or just a glancing blow, but definitely the 0-1 caught some damage in that.
And you notice who was able to sneak right through there. No harm, no foul. Your point leader in car number 36.
That's Alex Lebey finding his way back forward again. Had fallen back to about 26th or 27th spot. Was about 20th before that last caution period, and made it into the teens, and we'll see how much further he's able to climb up. I don't know that we have anybody. Do we have anyone making pit stops here? We just got restarted. I don't know if we have anyone making pit stops for tires here, although you never know.
Well, like you said off the top of the show, by the time you're down and away out of your pit box to the end of pit lane, you need new tires. So we may have some takers. Ooh, big hits for several drivers down the back straightaway. That was well behind the incident between Schweikart and Caden Lapsevich. I think that's the 35 of Adam Ross involved in that. There he goes. So some damage to the 35.
Yeah, Adam Ross with some big contact there in that incident, and a couple others on the backstretch there as well. That one was pretty wild for iRacing standards too. So Trent Ringler, Trayton Lapsevich, Jean-Philippe Bergeron, the Dark Horse Events 18 machine, Felix Gratton and Rafael Lessard right now rounding out the top 5. Been pretty impressed with Lessard's climb back through the pack, running as far back as 24th earlier in this event. Now back into the top 5 for the first time since dropping back through there as well. And right now, taking a look through the top 10 is Blake Reinhardt, Caden Lapsevich, Jeff Cote, Alex Gannett, and Tom Senchek right now, your top 10.
Let's give a tip of the hat, though, to Jean-Philippe Bergeron, who comes into this one 19th in points, and he started all events so far in the Canadian Sim Racing Series. And he's had solid finishes, just hasn't quite been at the sharp end of the field. But here today, he's been very, very good. Spot on at all his pit stops. Done everything he's needed to do on the restarts and keeping out of trouble, and here he finds himself inside the top 3. So, shout out to this driver here who's having a great, great run.
That's a nice run for Gratton, and for Felix Gratton as well, who's also had a nice run, who started 12th and has climbed up into the top 5. You mentioned with Bergeron, Dave, staying out of trouble is the key, and drivers that are able to do that, we talk about it at all events. If you can stay out of trouble, it is amazing how far forward in the field you can find yourself without having to be too aggressive, too hard on your equipment. Just avoid the other issues that drivers are causing.
And, we're getting into the point of the race now where drivers who have been involved in incidents and have used up their quick repairs no longer have that as an option. So you need to be very, very careful to avoid trouble at this point, especially if you've used up that quick repair, because any damage that you incur, you have to run the rest of the event with it.
So as they get ready to come back to the green, this time off turn 4, interesting to note here, Trent Ringler deciding now to take the lower lane to restart in, as he has got Trayton Lapsevich to his outside, and they will come back to the line. We're going to put lap 67 in the books. There'll be 33 to go as we get ready to cross the line. Ringler controls the restart, and he gets a great restart. Good launch off of turn number 4, and here comes Bergeron down to the bottom trying to take over the 2 spot.
I think Ringler chose the inside line because it was going to be Trayton Lapsevich who would have the inside should he have chosen the high line for that restart, and it proved to be the right choice for Trent Ringler. Trayton Lapsevich has settled into second spot. Bergeron has gotten ahead of Lapsevich for second spot at the moment. It'll be interesting to see how long Trayton Lapsevich decides he wants to stay in third spot, and looks like we've had more trouble on the backstretch.
Trouble involving your points leader, Alex Labay. He was running in the 23rd position, and he was caught up in a mess down the back straightaway. You saw 3 or 4 cars involved, and one of them is your points leader. Now, I believe he has used his quick repair after being involved in an incident earlier. So this could be big.
Absolutely could be big, and we're going to get a look at it here on the replay. And, guys, as he has tried to come back through the pack, Alex Labay has been doing very nice work at just minding his P's and Q's, but right there, a little bit of contact to the right rear quarter as one car got out of shape that he was running next to on the back straightaway, and just like that, all of a sudden Labay finds himself in the middle of something not of his own doing, and I can't remember if it was you, Todd, or Dave that said that's the trouble with being back mid-pack, is sometimes you get involved in those incidents that you don't have a thing to do with.
You're exactly right. Alex Labay was just minding his own business, trying to stay out of trouble, and suddenly the 72 of Alex Labrosse was going around in front of him, and there was contact all around him, and he was collected up in someone else's issue. And when you're deep in the field, you run the risk of that happening, as Alex Labay has now made his way to pit lane.
Now, it seems to be just that right rear corner. He didn't hit a wall, which is good news, but Alex Labay getting some repairs done now on pit lane. And again, only 30 laps to go next time they pass the stripe. So time is not on his side as he has to come working his way up through the field. So at this point, I think it's just damage control for Alex Labay. Gain as many positions as you can to limit the point damage to the 32, the 76, who are up both inside the top 10 here today. And now you're just struggling to gain as many points as you can so as to hang on to this championship win.
Trayton is third. Caden is seventh, or will be for this restart. So you're right. Now it's Alex Labbe who's got to try to really maybe use a little bit more aggressive maneuvering than we have seen previously in these final 30 laps to try to gain as many positions as he can. Just came in and got 4 fresh tires. How bad is the body damage? How is the handling of the car? We're going to find out, see if whether or not Alex Labbe can wheel it towards the front.
And how's it going to affect in the aero? I mean, this is a very much an aero track. Unlike what we saw at maybe Canadian Tire Motorsport Park or Circuit Gilles Villeneuve on the road courses in the prior 2 races. But, I mean, this is big-time aero. It's a very much a high-speed track. So if there's damage and that affects the rear spoiler, then that could definitely affect the handling of that race.
Well, guys, let's get a word here with one of our in-race reporters. And right now our in-race reporter is the driver up in the front of the pack, and that is Trent Ringler aboard the 26 machine here. And Trent, tell us a little bit about your run. You have, been started in the top 5, started 4th here tonight, and have quickly picked your way up to the top of the heap.
Well, yeah, track position is key. We had somebody stay out there on couple cautions ago that took out some of the leaders, and I was lucky to make it through there. So there's a bunch of fast guys in there, though, that's for sure.
So you're saying, Trent, don't ever take just 2 tires. You always want 4.
Yeah, you always want tires, but track position is really important too. I'd have liked to taken some tires that after we ran 2 laps. Yeah, you don't always. There's a bunch, I think 12 or 13 stayed out there, so it was the right thing to do staying out.
Is it tough to get into a rhythm tonight? We've been start, stop, start, stop. We had a good long green flag run at the beginning, but ever since it's just been caution.
Well, that first run, it was actually just starting to come in for me. I don't know. Yeah, it takes a few laps to get into a rhythm.
Well, Trent, best of luck the rest of the way here, coming to green this time. It's been a great effort for you so far, 71 laps in. We'll see if you can do it for 29 more.
All right, thanks.
All right, there is Trent Ringler. Up on top of the board here as we get ready to come back to the green. And I'll tell you guys, and I've noticed that for him during the wintertime series that we did. That guy is cool as a cucumber.
He seems very calm, very relaxed, even though he's out front of this field, and we've seen plenty of action so far. Just to make a note as well, Alex Labbe will restart 19th as we're about to accept the green.
And he has just used his fast repair, so that car is in tip-top shape, and Alex Labbe is in full.
Green lights are back on here, 72 on the board, 28 to go before we crown a champion and crown a race winner. And wow, what a moment there for Raphael Lessard and Blake Reinhardt in turn 2.
Now the aggression is coming out for everyone on track. That is the 32 of Trayton Lapsevich, who has jumped up to 2nd on this restart, as well as the leaders head into corner number 3. And yes, Raphael Lessard back up near the front of the field and looking like he wants to move a little further, but he's feeling a little pressure from behind now as well.
Now alongside as Blake Reinhardt in the 12 moves to the inside of the Mobil 1 number 4 of Lessard. They almost touch. Get very, very close, but stay apart. So good give and take between those 2 drivers at this.
Side by side they go into turn 3. Reinhardt down to the bottom. Lessard right on the back bumper now, as it looked like he tried to cross him over off turn 4. Could not make it happen. Lessard will tuck back into line, and they'll all race to turn number 1. Meanwhile, that battle up front just ahead of them is starting to heat up for the race lead as well, Todd.
It certainly is. Trayton Lapsevich is showing the nose on the inside of Trent Ringler, looking like he wants to take over that top spot, looking for a way around. But again, he has shown aggression, but hasn't been overly aggressive so far. Now we got a little action a little further back in the field. Looks like we're going to have a change for 4th.
Now, Grattan goes back in one spot as Reinhardt continues to move forward. He was your pole sitter coming into this race, so you know he has the speed in that number 12 machine. He's just been sort of caught out by circumstance a number of times, but now we have several laps in a row of green flag running, and the drivers, as you heard Trent Ringler say during that last caution, it takes a few laps for these cars to come in, and now they're finally coming into their own and starting to feel comfortable.
Trayton Lapsevich having a look up to the inside now as they drive through the corners. Trayton Lapsevich trying to make it work and stick down on the inside coming out of corner number 2 and down the long backstretch. We'll see if he can make that pass complete by the time they get to corner 3. As you get up on the side of the quarter panel, you will get a little bit of aero benefit, removing some of the airflow over that car ahead of you. Trayton Lapsevich, though, can't make it stick and starts to move back in behind the leader, Trent Ringler. Let's make a note as well. Alex Labay up to 12th. That 36 car is coming.
He is fast for sure, but Trent Ringler is doing everything he needs to do to keep the 32 of Trayton Lapsevich in behind at this point. You can see him, even when he gets shuffled up in the corners just a little bit, he's able to keep the momentum up and keep the 32 at bay. So hats off to Trent Ringler. He's doing a wonderful job leading this race.
Ringler doing everything he needs to do to stay up front. And Todd also, Trayton Lapsevich doing everything he needs to do to try and catch LeBay in this points championship. We've still got pit stops left to go here tonight. But Lapsevich, if he goes up and tries to take the lead of the race and maybe win this thing, maybe the points will take care of themselves here.
Well, his best opportunity is if he comes up with a race victory. Down to the inside now as the cars exit corner number 4. Trayton Lapsevich feeling a little bit of the push down towards the inside. Ringler up high. Trayton Lapsevich still pushing hard. Gets the nose ahead of Trent Ringler as they enter corner number 1. He should be able to sweep through and take that position coming out of corner number 2. New leader, the 32 car, back out in front.
But here comes Ringler taking a look on the inside, going into turn number 3. Caught a little bit of the draft down the back straightaway and poked the nose. 2 Toyotas battling nose to tail now as Ringler slots in behind your new race leader, the 32 of Trayton Lapsevich. And just a point of mention, the 36 of Alex Labay is now in 9th.
Yeah, LeBay says that's nice that the kid took the lead, but man, what a job. He has gained 10 spots here, Todd. Since the restart, LeBay up to 9th. You ride on board with him, and it has been methodical. It has been textbook. I mean, he has just made all the right moves since we took the green back on lap 72.
Doesn't look like he has any intention of staying back there for very long as he's starting to move now to the inside of that 4 car of Rafael Lessard and maybe making a little bit further for his way further forward as well with that number 11 Budweiser machine. Alex Labay is on the charge. Trayton Lapsevich is out front of the field. He's running second in the points, 22 behind Alex Labay, who is the leader, who is further back. But Alex Labay is charging, and we've got 19 laps left to go. Still going to be fun to see how this one plays out.
Reinhardt was looking underneath for 3rd spot as the caution flag flies once again. So this will bunch the field just as we're getting into a little bit of a rhythm here with Trayton Lapsevich in the 32-year race leader. This will slow things down once again. You see several slower cars just prior to this caution flag on the racetrack. They were down on the apron. I was hoping they would get out of the way and keep this race green just for a little bit longer.
How much do we think that 2 or 3 lap fresher tires than the rest of the field helped LeBay climb as far as he did, as quickly as he did?
Certainly didn't hurt his opportunity to move forward. If you've got the fresher tires after making a pit stop, it's going to help you further back in the field to maneuver that car. But Alex Labay has shown he also has a fast car. Everybody's going to have the fresh tires now, and we're going to see the race off pit road to see who can take advantage. Trayton Lapsevich seemed to be trying to pull away a little bit from Trent Ringler once he did get out front. Will he be able to win the battle off pit road? How will Alex Labay do? What will Blake Reinhardt do having that number 1 pit stop spot on the pit road? It's all going to play out in a few seconds.
50 miles an hour down into their pit stalls here. Blake Reinhardt hits pit stall number 1. That's the pit stall that he was assigned after winning the pole position for the race here tonight. Race off of pit road. Who's it going to be? Trayton Lapsevich looks like he's going to win the race off of pit lane in the 32. And a strategy call possibly here for Felix Gratton in the 06. We'll have to check on that.
Yeah, it looks like he possibly took only 2 tires there because he wasn't that close to the front to make a big move to get up. And I didn't see any of the leaders make any mistakes down pit lane either. So likely only 2 tires for the 6 of Felix Gratton.
We have not seen that work out well for anyone who has taken 2 tires previously. Will it work out this time? I'm a little skeptical, we'll say, when we've seen so many fast cars up front, whether it's Trent Ringler, whether it's Trayton Lapsevich, whether it's Blake Reinhardt, Alex Labbe. The fast cars find their way to the front, and the smart strategy call, I think, would have been 4 tires. We'll see if it plays out, but I'd be a little worried if I was near that 06 car on this restart.
On that replay, the only mistake I saw came from the 18 of Bergeron, where he sort of overcooked into his pit box and he had to back up. So it cost him a couple seconds, but nothing crazy. So you'll see that is why he's a little bit deeper in the field as far as his track position goes. But yeah, so that was the only mistake that I saw amongst any of the leaders.
And guys, we went back and checked the tape. You're not going to believe it. Gratton took 4 tires. A fast pit stop for the Autodrome Drummond Speedway 06 machine. Very, very quick pit work there for that crew.
Nice job when you need it most.
Wow.
With 16 laps to go, you get the fast pit stop. You get the benefit of being up near the front. Nice work.
You buy your pit crew a beer after this one.
At least.
Absolutely. And you know, we saw, and here's where sometimes this is what it comes down to as well, is your entrance to your pit box and how you get out of the pit box and out to the line. Sometimes that can make the difference. You know, pit stops being the same in terms of the time it takes to change 4 tires for each car, that entrance and exit out of the pit stall is everything.
Absolutely. The how you get in and how you get out, if you can do it a little bit quicker, you will be the beneficiary, and Felix Gratton certainly was in this particular case. Going to be interesting to see, will he choose the outside? Will you allow Trayton Lapsevich the inside? I think I'd want the inside if Trayton Lapsevich is my opposition on the front row, but we'll wait and see. It looks like Gratton is going to take the outside on the restart.
And now it's a matter of translating that gain in the pit lane to on the racetrack. If you can keep your position on the track, he has been up inside the top 10. He hasn't quite been fast enough to fight with these drivers that he's now fighting amongst. So the ones that are circling him on the racetrack, he hasn't necessarily been up with them this far. So we'll see if he can stay there. I mean, he's put himself in the position, and that's all you can ask.
Also starting on the outside, the 36 of Alex Labbe in 6th position.
Yeah.
Where we heard that before tonight.
Yeah.
But up to 6. What a pit stop for that team as well.
Back to the line here. 86 laps now on the board, guys. 14 to go here at the virtual Atlanta Motor Speedway, and it is Lapsevich taking the advantage to turn number 1. Labbe quickly now in 5th, quickly down to the bottom lane, and it looks like, oh, look out, they're almost 3 wide there off of turn 2.
Boy, did they spread out in an unorthodox fashion coming out of corner number 2. They seem to have sorted it out now. Alex Labbe up to the inside of that 12 car. He is looking for 4th. He sees Trayton Lapsevich out front. He wants to move up as much as he can, but you don't want to put yourself in a bad position right now in terms of the championship. Alex Labbe looks good, but you do not want to put yourself in a bad position. Trayton Lapsevich still leading the field.
And Reinhardt is hungry right now. I saw the caution lights come on, I believe, down the back straight.
Yeah, one car was going backwards into the fence over in turn number 2. One car got turned around and put us right back under the yellow flag. And it'll be yellow back on here on lap number 88 with 12 to go. And the 00 once again is found himself in a little bit of trouble here on the racetrack.
So Trayton Lapsevich will lead the field to green as it stands right now, depending on pit stops. We're getting to the stage of the race where you're going to see drivers follow the leader. Will they do what the leader does, or will someone do something different? We're into the late stages, a little over a dozen laps, 12 or 14 laps by the time we go back green. If you pit, it could cost you, because as we heard from Trent Ringler, track position is equally important at Atlanta Motor Speedway.
And the question I wonder, Dave, is was that enough laps on the tires to make that? No, it doesn't look that way. It looks like everybody's going to stay out here.
A lot of people flirted with the idea of heading down pit lane, but I think Todd's right. Track position means way too much at this stage in the race. I think if we were back even 5 laps ago, then a lot of those drivers would come down and take 4 new tires. But at this point, I think they're okay with what they've got and the number of laps on them. And
well, it is going to be an exciting finish here to this championship round of the Canadian Sim Racing Series. We will have flag-to-flag coverage of the final restart all the way to the checkered flag here in just a moment.
Tonight's race brought to you by Storewall.ca. Shop at Storewall.ca for all your garage storage needs. We import and sell premium wall-mounted slat wall storage solutions for home and business. Our complete line of products provides everything you need to efficiently organize and store items in home and commercial. By Chez Gerard Patat, proud supporter of motorsports for the last 20 years. Gerard Patat wins the race for best fries, hot dogs, and poutine in Quebec. If you ever come by, make a pit stop. You won't regret it. By Stone Ridge Specialty Insurance. Let Stone Ridge Specialty Insurance protect your racing assets with liability and off-track coverage for race teams, sponsors, competition vehicles, tools, and equipment. Call Stone Ridge Specialty Insurance. And by LacroixTuning.com, the proud title sponsor of the Canadian Sim Racing Series. LacroixTuning.com is the place to shop online for your wheel, suspension, and tire needs. We can even ship you tires mounted on new wheels right.
Welcome back to the virtual Atlanta Motor Speedway here, where tonight the championship round of the Canadian Sim Racing Series is on here on GeForce TV, as well as on the Canadian Sim Racing Series Facebook page. We're going to get a look here once again at the replay that put us under the yellow flag, and looks like just a couple of cars going for the same piece of real estate there in turn number 1 and 2, right about the apex of the corner.
And it looks like LaBrosse is going to get the worst of it as he ends up against the turn 2 wall. Unfortunately, it looks like you're right. Nothing sort of malicious about that move. It was just 2 drivers going for the same piece of real estate on the racetrack, and unfortunately one ends up backwards and into the outside.
Well, now this restart is going to be something to remember here in this race, because Trayton Lapsevich has the inside lane. He controls the restart. Trent Ringler going to restart on the outside lane, and I just keep thinking back to that restart that Ringler had in the outside, where he made the outside work. But Todd, the difference here is he does not control the restart this time.
No, that's right. He'll have to wait for Trayton Lapsevich to go and then have to try to get the jump on him, and I think that will not serve him as well. Alex Lebay is going to start on the inside of this of the lineup as well. He's currently running 5th, so I'm interested to see how well he does starting on the inside. Dave said earlier he started almost every restart on the outside. This time he will start on the inside, and whether or not he wants to follow up really tight to make his way past Felix Graton and try to move forward and get ahead of get towards Trayton Lapsevich's bumper.
Well, especially with used tires on these race cars, too. Spinning your tires on this restart will be a factor. There will be some drivers who don't hit it right. We'll see which ones don't at this point, but it is very important.
Green flag is back out here. 9 laps to go for Trayton Lapsevich. How can he hold on here with Trent Ringler breathing down his neck into turns 1 and 2? You've also got Gratone back there with him as well as Blake Reinhardt and Alex LeBay, your top 5 heading to turn 3.
So far, smooth for Trayton Lapsevich. Got the nice restart that he wanted. Finds himself out in front of the field, doing everything that he can to put himself in position to maybe get a championship. And we've got cars going through the infield, deeper in the field, and now we're crashing at the start-finish line.
Yeah, so this is going to bring out the caution, and it is Caden Lapsevich came into this one in the top 3 in points. The 76 of Lapsevich, who was involved in an earlier incident with his brother, Trayton Lapsevich. Caden now sits with very heavy damage to the nose of this.
So
that's not what brother Trayton wanted. He was out front of the field, seemed to be putting himself in a very favorable position to move forward and hang on for this race. He has shown he is fast all night, but brother Caden Lapsevich finds trouble as they are coming through out of corner number 4 and towards the start-finish line and start spinning.
Did he get touched there that sent him through the field? I think he might have, and the second hit might have been retaliatory.
Yeah, it did look like he had a little bit of assistance there. I think that might have been the 4 of Lassard.
I think Arsenault was involved in there too. Yeah, that's a touch.
That's all it takes.
Yeah, you're right. Rafael Lassard, and the 4 was the one who made the initial contact with the 76 of Lapsevich, and around he went. But again, you're getting into the final stretch run of this race, and every position is so important. So you'd see that bumper, you can make that bump and run, and you hope the driver on the outside hangs on to it. And unfortunately for that one, it's not a classic case of a bump and run pass. And unfortunately for the 76, it looks like his night has taken a rocky turn.
Well, let's get a quick word here with Trayton Lapsevich, who leads this race here with just about 5-6 laps to go. And Trayton, really no surprise there to see nobody come down the pit lane this late in the race. Track position's everything here.
Yeah, we got enough fuel to make it to the end here, so these restarts can be a little hectic. We got a little bit of wheel spin, so it gets a bit scary, but yeah, we'll see what we got from here at the end.
You've chosen to use the inside for the restart. We've seen others at times use the outside for the restart. Is that the plan once again? It looked like it worked out beautifully for you on that last restart.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't chance giving up the inside. There's not much of an outside line here, so I think I'm just going to stay safe on the ball.
You've been fast all night long. Is your confidence at an all-time high at this point?
I feel pretty good, but it's too early to get excited. Yeah, I'm just gonna keep the car underneath me and race clean and see what.
Trayton, you've had so many good runs here on this 5-race series, including tonight. What would it mean to you to pull down a win? You've had so many good runs, and some of them didn't come out with the finish that you maybe deserved at the end of the day. What would it mean if you could pull it off here tonight?
It would be really good to finish the season off on a high note. It'd also do me good in the points, too, because we're sitting second. So, yeah, coming out with a win here would be a big confidence booster, especially if they do something like this again. It was a lot of fun.
All right, man. Good luck to you here the rest of the way. Well, guys, there's Trayton Lapsevich, and I think with as many good runs as he's had here in this 5-race mini series, I mean, what an appropriate way it would be for him if he could hold on here and cap off all these great runs with putting it in victory lane.
He has run well enough to win well, just about every weekend in this Canadian Sim Racing Series. He has been fast at every event. He has shown great poise, maneuvering his way through the field and staying out of trouble. The incident he was involved earlier in the race, it wasn't from his doing, it was from others who got in trouble, and he was collected. Trayton Lapsevich has shown a great deal of smarts and maturity, and is going to be a fun racer to watch for a lot of years. I'm interested to see how he performs on this final restart. Well, what we anticipate is the final restart.
Careful.
Notice I qualified that. What we anticipate could be the final restart, but I'm expecting all kinds of action behind him.
Oh, there will be. That's a guarantee. So now it's a matter of just whether or not we can keep everybody going in the right direction to the finish line at this point. But Trayton Lapsevich is definitely sitting pretty. He's been very good on these restarts. He mentioned there is some wheel spin, and it's something he's got to keep in mind of. The tire degradation, a big story of today's event. But Trayton Lapsevich has been very good at controlling that wheel spin and getting out very quickly, whether it be from a pit stop or from a restart.
There'll be 3 laps to go when they come to the line, guys. I mean, this is, if you've got any cards to show, now it's the time to show them. And we've seen guys get aggressive right off the drop of the green here.
I would expect much more of the same on this restart with only a couple of laps to go. Pace car has the lights out. Everybody in line 2 by 2. Trayton Lapsevich getting set to lead him to green.
Lapsevich brings him down to the line. Green flag is back out. 3 laps to go here from the virtual Atlanta Motor Speedway. Who's going to win the race? Can LeBay continue to keep his nose clean here for 3 more laps to cap off the series championship?
Looked like LeBay tried to stay away from any of the aggression in the first couple of rows. He's leaving almost a little bit of a gap, understanding he's in good position for the championship. Let's let the guys up front who were almost 3 wide going into 3 and decided that maybe wasn't the best choice.
And we do have a car around. Is that Rochelle?
Yes, it looks like it. Yeah. Wow. Just as you guys were saying that, just as we were talking about Alex LeBay keeping his nose clean, being in a safe spot, the field seemingly kind of blew apart behind him, which made me think, boy, there may not be a safe spot out here.
There
right
really isn't a place to hide out there, but Alex LeBay was doing his best, it seemed, to just avoid anything that could cause him problems. The second, third, and fourth place cars really seemed to be getting aggressive, and he didn't seem to want any part of it, as we're getting a replay back here of what caused the caution.
So a tap with Alex Gannett, and then Kyle Rochelle up, turns goes the other way and up hard in the wall. Those 2 drivers were very, very close, Gannett and Kyle Rochelle, for that ever since the drop of that green on that restart. So unfortunately, a little too close in one occasion. That appears to have ended the night, I believe, for Kyle Rochelle.
Boy, guys, and one driver who really got the short end of that stick came into the night. As you see Kyle Rochelle come down pit lane for repairs. I don't know if we can get a look at it, but Rafael Lassard, who came into the night 4th in the points, boy, did he get the short end of the stick there. Heavy front. I mean, the whole nose is ripped off of the front of that 4 car. He's going to try and keep it going here for this first attempt at a green-white-checkered, but look at that damage. Yikes.
Yeah, that is not an aerodynamically sound car, that number 4 machine right now. And Dave, as you mentioned, aerodynamics are very important. Atlanta is a super high-speed track, and aerodynamics are important. That is going to be a handful for Lassard just to coax it around for a couple of laps to get to the finish on this green-white checker.
Yeah, he's running with a parachute at the front of that race car, essentially. He'll try and draft up behind the driver in front of him, which is right now Alex Gannett. Who he restarts behind, I'm not sure. It looks like it'll be Senchek in the 11, probably. But, yeah, I mean, the best you can hope for at this point, keeping in mind that your wheels might not be pointed in the same direction. The toe could be affected on that 4 car as well. So, and that, of course, will affect your overall speed, not to mention the aerodynamics. So there's a lot of things that could be at play for the driver of the 4 car, but at this point it's just sort of limit the damage, get out of here with a finish.
And see what happens in terms of the points as well, because as we saw, Caden Lapsevich had problems, and it was Caden Lapsevich that Lessard was behind in the overall point standings by just a couple of points, so he may have a chance to jump one spot by completing these final couple of laps.
I'm starting to get, Trent Ringler, guys, going down onto the flat part of the racetrack. I'm trying to keep an eye on the cockpit camera here in the production suite. He's shutting that race car off, and this could be something that, at first glance we didn't think about, but there could be potentially 3 green-white checkers here, guys, and every time that yellow comes out, we're pacing under this yellow flag. We've been talking about tires all night long. I don't know. Ringler's trying to save some gas here under yellow.
Interesting, because we heard Trayton Lapsevich say that, fine on fuel to go the rest of the way, but he probably wasn't anticipating a couple of green-white checkers. But maybe Trent Ringler's just being extra cautious to make sure that he has plenty of fuel for any additional restarts that we have. But I'd be surprised if anyone ran out of fuel. It didn't seem like it had been that long since they've been on pit lane and took fuel and tires.
Yeah, that's true. But you know what? In the same breath, what's the harm in trying, right? You have the opportunity to save fuel. I'm going to save fuel just to be on the.
So it's Lapsevich and Ringler, your front row, coming back to green. This is our first attempt at a green-white checkered finish. If we're unable to finish the race under the checkered flag after we take this green, we will make a second and then up to 3 attempts at a green-white checkered finish. So Trayton Lapsevich is going to bring him to the green. And boy, guys, the excitement is going to really ratchet up here coming back to green.
Everybody getting in line. Pace car lights are out. Trayton Lapsevich will have control of the field. He did it perfectly the last time on the restart. Got himself out in front and wasn't really challenged. And then we have the next caution. We'll see if he can do it again, maintaining that inside line. Watch the tire spin. A good restart again from Trayton Lapsevich, starting to get himself ahead of that field, and it's going to be Trent Ringler who falls in line for second.
Everybody.
I was going to say Felix Graton was trying to do his best to keep up with the 32 of Trayton Lapsevich. Unfortunately, couldn't quite get there. That opened a hole for Ringler to drop down. Now Bergeron's going to drop in behind the 6 of Graton, but there, look at Reinhardt in the 12th is flexing some muscle here in the late stage.
And boy, Ringler is really pushing that 26 hard as he tries to close in on Lapsevich here. White flag is out, though, here from the Atlanta Motor Speedway.
Trayton Lapsevich out in front by a car length on Trent Ringler and doesn't seem to be challenged. Ringler will try to draft up along the backstretch and get close to him for maybe a last-ditch attempt out of 3 and 4, but I don't know if he's going to get close enough. Trayton Lapsevich in that 32, hugging the bottom and headed for the checkers.
And Ringler come back underneath him. He can't quite.
Trayton Lapsevich will pick up the win here at the virtual Atlanta Motor Speedway, winning the championship round of the Canadian Sim Racing Series and coming home with a 7th place finish. That should do it for the 36 of Alex Lebay. And actually, guys, I see Lebay may have had an issue there on the final lap, and I'm showing him scored in the 14th position here at the checkered flag. Wow.
Wow, it was right. Didn't see what happened to Alex Lebay if there was an issue on that final lap. But if he has fallen that far back, that is a huge turn of events.
That is big. Yeah, I didn't see any major issues. I was trying to watch through the top 2 battle that we had going in the final few corners, but
yeah, somebody ran over me and it got me a 4X and got a black flag, I guess. Just stupid rule, I guess. I mean, I don't know if I really lose a championship like that. It's pretty dumb, but it is what it is.
guys, we're going to swing over here to Victory Lane. We're going to hear from Trayton Lapsevich, who comes home the winner here in car number 32. And Trayton, tell us about that green-white-checkered, man. Things got pretty exciting there at the end.
I was pretty nervous coming to that green-white-checkered. I just had to ace my restart, not spin the wheels, and we got it done.
Trayton, it seems like you've had, if not the fastest car, one of the fastest cars all night. You had trouble early on in the race, got set back in the field, but found your way forward. It didn't seem like you were pushing too hard, but kind of took a more methodical approach to climbing your way back through the field to get back to the front before the second half of the race.
Yeah, once I knew I had already used my one faster pair there, I told Caden I'm just going to be patient, be slow with getting back up the field. Then we had that one caution there. We decided to take two. That got us a lot of track position and ended up working out in the end.
Was there ever a point when you got panicked during that, after that incident where, you know, you were so dominant and then you got pushed right to the back? Or was it just like, we got a lot of laps left, we can make...
I was definitely pretty nervous because there was a lot of cars there, and I knew it only takes one little mistake from someone or myself to wreck me and take me out of the race. So it was just playing it smooth. We got back up to the front nice and easy, and yeah.
Is there a feeling of relief now that you're sitting in Victory Lane?
Very. It feels really good to park in Victory Lane. I've come close a couple times this season, so it's a very big relief to finally get that win. And I'm not sure we end up in the points here. I see LeBay finish 14th, I think, so we'll see how that all plays out.
Well, you certainly did your job tonight, Trayton, and I have to imagine that was kind of your thought process coming into this race tonight was, you know, go out and win the race and let the points shake out where they may.
Yeah, for sure. I came into the race knowing I had to finish the race as well and pay attention to where Alex was. So, yeah, but in the end, the goal was to win the race, and we got it done.
Well, congratulations to you, man. Tell us about all the folks that, you know, we've got a great look at your race car here and all the great people that back the effort. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I got to thank RPM Race Parts, Ace Services, Reinhardt Auctions, RGC, and Bobby Dale Earnhardt Legacy Esports, as well as the local skate shop, too. Couldn't do it without all of them.
All right, there's Trayton Lapsevich, your race winner here tonight from the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Congratulations to Trayton on a big win here tonight. We're now going to work on getting a word here, I believe, with our third place finisher. And we'll get Felix in here in just a moment so we can get a word with him. Felix Gratone coming home in position number 3 here aboard the 6. And Felix, congratulations. A great third place effort for you here tonight after starting 12th. And I think we lost Felix there.
Guess we didn't like the question.
All right. Yeah, well, we'll work on. It actually looks like he's disappeared completely here, so we'll try and get a word with him whenever he's available. I know Trent Ringler will be coming up here in just a moment. Ringler wrapping up down the hallway here with our friends from the French broadcast. Soon as they're done with him, and guys, here's the other thing. At first glance, we thought that. You know, the championship was in hand, and now all of a sudden the statisticians and the math whizzes all of a sudden are putting pencil to paper here.
Well, better them than me that's doing the math on this one, because that was a big turn of events when that closed, when Alex Labbe was classified as 14th. And how many points did he lose? Trayton Lapsevich finishing first, of course. That's an enormous swing in the points. Trayton was 22 behind coming into the race tonight. That many positions, that's a big point swing.
Yeah, it is. I'm not sure the exact number of points going in Trayton Lapsevich's favor, but yeah, definitely this is something not that Alex Labbe did not want to see in the late going of this one. Again, he'd driven a pretty solid race up at the front for the most part, got into some trouble a couple of times, went to the back, more trouble back there, and then worked his way up through this field right at the end. And there you can see the 36 as we come to the line.
Right, and that's the frustrating thing too for Alex Labbe with the issues that he ran into in this race weren't of his making. He was collected up in other issues. It wasn't him that made a mistake and caused the problem. It was him being collected in other people's troubles.
Well, let's take a look at it here as they go down into turn 3. Now, mind you, Labbe took the white flag in 7th position, and they come into the final corner here, and it looks like, yeah, I'm not sure. From Alex's perspective, they came down into the corner, and there was some kind of contact had that gave him 4 incident points. So we'll try and track down the story on that. But finishing second here tonight is Trent Ringler aboard the 26 as we try and sort through some of the confusion here. But Trent, you had a solid run tonight. Second place finish. I know you wanted another spot here in the standings, but for some of the struggles that you went through during the course of this 5-race mini-series, finishing it off with a second place effort, it's got to feel pretty good.
Yeah, it was finally a fun race for me. I probably should have battled Trayton there a little bit harder than I did for the lead. I thought at that spot I'd follow him for the next few laps, and we were getting ready to come to a pit. And that never happened. We ended up getting a caution. So
tough on the last few laps when there was no real long run to allow you the opportunity to run right up on him and try to find a way around him. It was those late restarts. You only ran a couple of laps and your opportunities were limited.
Yeah, you just couldn't get anything going. It'd take a couple of laps to figure out how to set somebody up and get a run on him. But it was really tough. Trayton's really.
Got some pretty good runs this series, though. Started off the series strong and then sort of ran into some tough luck through the middle part of it. I mean, this puts a nice cap.
Oh, absolutely.
Trent, talk us through that final restart. We saw you have some success trying to use the outside lane on that one restart, but I think the difference there at the end was having the control of when to start and not start that restart there.
Oh yeah, it was a big advantage for the leader. But yeah, the outside in 3 and 4 was good. In 2 it was kind of tight, so you couldn't hardly run the high side in 1 and 2. But coming out of 4, it was really good on the top. And a lot of times, if you hit it right, you can get a big run. That's what I was going for. But yeah, it didn't stick for me any of those restarts.
Well, Trent, it was a great way to cap off the 5-race mini-series for you here tonight. Tell us about some of the folks that helped make it happen for you there on the 26 car.
Guerin Construction and McNichols Transmission, they sponsored me this season, so big thanks. Appreciate it.
Well, it was great to see you have a great run here tonight, and we'll see you again, I'm sure. It was a pleasure to get to see you run this winter and here in the spring.
Yeah, thanks, guys. You did a good job.
All right, there's Trent Ringler. Again, guys, even after the race, man, cool as a cucumber, cool as they come here as we get ready to wrap things up here tonight. Guys, final thoughts here as again the statisticians go to pushing that pencil to paper here as we try and if we get any final word before we go off air, we'll be sure to pass that along. But Todd, final thoughts here tonight.
Great racing series. It was 5 fun events. We started off in California, went to Charlotte, had a couple of really good road courses, and then a lot of excitement in this event tonight with the points leader who was running up front, had some problems. The 2 top challengers and the Lapsevich brothers also had issues, went to the back, found their way forward again. Trayton Lapsevich has shown to be mature, poised, and fast at all 5 tracks, comes away with a victory tonight to close it out in the end of the Canadian Sim Racing Series.
Yeah, I really like the variety of racetracks that we got to see throughout these 5 really different events. I mean, going from California, and then you went to Charlotte, which was very different. And a lot of the drivers had to react very quickly, learn a new track in a lot of cases. Some of the drivers had never been on a road course, so they had mentioned that they just bought this track for iRacing last week so they could get some practice in, especially when we went to Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, to see some of those drivers and how quickly they became acclimatized to those tracks, got fast, and put on fantastic events for us to watch. It just hats off to all the organizers of this series who put this on and all the drivers who took part.
Well, guys, I was just looking over here with some of the conversation that's going on. It looks like at this time there will be an official announcement that will be made by Tuesday night at 9 p.m. On GeForce TV. This race is under review right now, and the reason that is under review is for the last lap, whatever occurred there with the point leader Alex Labbe. We watched that replay here during the interviews, and still trying to figure out exactly what happened, and in an effort to not make a split decision. And not make a decision in haste here. The officials are going to review the final restart of this race to try and figure out what it was that the iRacing server here put Labbe back to the 14th spot. We didn't see anything on tape when we got to take a peek at that replay, but they are going to review this incident because obviously this has championship implications. So, guys, that's the word from the tower. The race is under review, and we will have a final decision by Tuesday night at 9 o'clock.
Well, that makes sense, that to have a look at it, make sure that you get the call right. It's obvious that Trayton Lapsevich was going to be the race winner, and he's going to win the race and gain maximum points. The key part is where Alex Labbe finished, whether it's going to be 7th where he crossed the line, or is it going to be further back in 14th. Let's take the time that's needed to get the call right, to make the proper judgment on that issue with Alex Labbe before handing out the championship.
Well, guys, I can bring you a bit of information from the tower. So we have reviewed this last restart till the finish. Labbe was clearly clean on the track. We're not sure where the black flag would have came from. So that's the reason for the review. He did appeal it immediately, and you could hear he was a little bit disappointed when he got in here. But we'll take the time to review it. Yeah, it's strange. We've watched the replay a couple times. We can't seem to figure out why he would have gotten that black flag. He was not on line, started in the right position. So we'll get to the bottom of that right away. But great job, guys. We appreciate everybody being with us, and great job from the booth.
All right, guys, there you have it. Clinton Jeffrey with the word right from the tower, and they saw the same thing that we did on the video. So they'll review that and try to figure that out. And from what we're looking at, just very, very fast calculations. I mean, that does have championship implications there. So, a shout out to the officials here from the Canadian Sim Racing Series, taking the necessary time to get that sorted out here. So we will for sure get a ruling on that here in the next day or so. But again, congratulations out to Trayton Lapsevich, who pulls down a win here. His first win of the season here with the Canadian Sim Racing Series. And Todd and Dave, I have to say, man, thank you guys so much. It was a pleasure getting to work alongside each other here for the first time. You guys are absolute pros, and helped somebody a little bit new to this stuff make my way through it, and I appreciate it very much.
It was a pleasure. It was a lot of fun. Enjoyed it and got to see some pretty cool racing here at each of the 5 events. And how about that? We leave you with a cliffhanger. It's like the end of season, How to Get Away with Murder, as you wait and see who comes up with the championship on Tuesday.
It's the Florida recount. But it was a lot of fun. It was we got to watch some great racing, had some good laps along the way, so always a pleasure.
Well, on behalf of everybody here with the Canadian Sim Racing Series, thank you so much to all of our viewers that tuned in all season long, whether you tuned in early when we started the series at Auto Club Speedway, or whether we went to round 2 at Charlotte, round 3 at CTMP, round 4 from Montreal last week, or here our championship round from the virtual Atlanta Motor Speedway. On behalf of our entire crew here with G-Force TV and the Canadian Sim Racing Series, want to send a shout out to our executive producers, Brad Ovens and Spencer Mullen, working behind the scenes to put these awesome pictures together each and every Sunday night for you. Again, on behalf of LaCroixTuning.com, thank you again for tuning in to the Canadian Sim Racing Series. Be sure to subscribe to G-Force TV on YouTube, youtube.com/GForce TV. And on behalf of our entire CSRS crew, thank you so much and good night from the Atlanta Motor Speedway.
Introducing G-Force TV. GeForceTV.net is your new source for action overload. Featuring free live programming year-round and countless hours of on-demand video, G-Force TV will be your first stop whenever you want to see the latest and hottest racing action. See live Friday Night Excitement weekly from Washougal Speedway, and watch the stars of tomorrow make a name for themselves during Thursday night's live microsprint racing. G-Force TV is also the new home for Rivals Race Chat. Watch weekly as Clinton Jeffrey and Adam Ross discuss all the hot topics in the world of motorsports. For iRacing fans, G-Force TV has you covered with hours of live broadcasting from Rivals and G-Force TV racing leagues. G-Force TV promises to deliver motorsports, esports, and action sports you want to see, along with talk shows and vlogs to keep you connected to the lifestyle you love. Visit GeForceTV.net today to subscribe for free. Sit back, hold on, and feel the G's on G-Force TV.